I sold my soul for views. When you really look at what's taken place, I'm selling my vulnerability and self online for potential ridicule or praise, regardless of my personal view on not needing anything from others. It puts you in a position that you have no choice if you truly want to succeed at this. The danger is falling so far deep that you forget a sense of self-restraint and to not be a slave of the algorithm. Now, speaking of the algorithm, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, that helped the channel. So yeah. I was thinking about this at the gym earlier when I was trying to come up with some ideas for today's video. I was actually listening weirdly to a Colin and Samir career support, or they have smaller to mid-level, but also sometimes big creators on their channel. And their goal is to help them like take their channel to the next level, looking at stuff they done, what they can do better, changing this thumbnail, their intro, and it's stuff I'm learning, and I'm actually kind of applying it to some videos today. Like, we have channels and niches that are dedicated to growing your channel in niche. It's like a game. It's like when you watch a reaction to a reaction video where they're reacting to another video and you're in this weird like multiverse type of thing. I'm literally, as a creator, a growing creator, listen to a show that helps other creators improve their creation. And in default, the big platform, Colin and Samir, their platforms, getting algorithm benefits and creating on top of that. It's like a whole cycle. And I was really thinking, you know, I'm appreciative of what's been happening with this channel. And I know I sold my soul for views. This is a little drastic. I don't actually feel like I'm selling myself. But when you break down what YouTube is, and it's kind of like, you know, we say we love music artists where it's real. Like, people loved Eminem because all of the shit he rapped about in his first album to, I mean, really, I guess, even till now, but you could feel the disconnect over time when his life changed and it's just rapping for fun and stuff. But like his original stuff, where it's about his daughter, his divorced wife or ex-girlfriend, Kim, and his like real life growing up with his mom, growing up in Detroit and all that stuff, and the real life issues and trauma he dealt with and stuff he dealt with his daughter and all that stuff. Weirdly enough, when you break down what music is, successful music that we like, people are kind of selling their life and their story for money. And look, some people, it's a nice trade-off. And I think what happens is with, I'll say like musicians, like Eminem's a great example, but you could even think, I really believe the reason why a lot of artists, like their first album, it feels the most, their first and second albums are like the most real. Because that's where like everything that they've worked in building themselves up and working and trying to become what they're becoming. And now it's real life. Their best is there. They have like, let's say they make it at 20 years old. They have 20 years of life into one album. And you cannot substitute time and real life events for just, let's go in the studio and just write some cool stuff. Like, yeah, you can pull experiences and shallow things in recent life and write some cool stuff, but that real emotional feel that people can feel through the music, you cannot replace it, which is why we loved Eminem, for example. And I'm just using him as an example. And look, even though this band didn't have trauma or nothing, but like Maroon 5, I believe their first album, even though I know it's not technically, but the Mornings About, I think, was it Mornings About Jane album with Sunday Morning, She Will Be Loved, and all those songs on it. You can feel like they were hungry. There was an aliveness to it. And then everything after, and you see what they are now, it's just like, what the fuck is this? And I think the reason why you see like artists, and you would go back to the YouTube creation, you see creators become depressed and sad, or they feel like their content becomes disconnected over time, or they just feel like they're burned out, or they feel like they're losing their mind, is because what got them the notoriety, what got them the attention, was we seek a realness in people, right? Like, when you're looking at some nobody, quote unquote. Like, I want to be your favorite nobody, you know? And we know when we click certain creators, it's going to be like a professional thing. So, and it's more about either it's vlog style or it's informational, a documentary type of thing, commentary. Like, you're getting their personality in it, but for the most part, they're speaking about something. They're talking about something. They're doing things, and it's not anything too personal. When you get someone like, I'll use me, or you get all these people that do this speaking just freely type of stuff, eventually, like, you're going to get the real aspects of people. Yeah, like, I wouldn't talk like this if I was just sitting here talking to a friend, but, like, you're still getting real things from me. I've been open about my previous relationship, my life, decisions I've made the past few years, the struggle of having a failed podcast, the how I think about things. And you open yourself up to ridicule. You open yourself up to kind of be like a laughing stock. It's kind of like medieval times. You know, you go one of the shows, you're just out there and you're playing a gesture. You're almost like a clown in a way. It's entertainment. It's real, but it's still like entertainment. Like when you go watch a Broadway play, like even though they're playing a character, they're playing on a script per se, like they're putting themselves out there, their physical body out there, their voice out there. And if they fuck up, if their voice cracks or the dancing isn't good or it's just not good, they forget their lines and it's bad, like they're going to feel that personal embarrassment because they individually felt, you know, whatever it was. And to kind of get back to this and like Eminem and Maroon 5, I think the reason why their music feels so disconnected over time is simply because they gave so much of like their real life situation, and now everyone knows everything about you. You've given everything of your vulnerable self about you. You have basically, and then you start making money, you sell records. Now, for people to be interested in you, you either have to create a character that's interesting and it's not so much vulnerable, but then you have to be fake. And that genesis of what people feel and that authenticity will fade. And we'll accept it for what it is. But it will never match that attachment we had to what our original feeling was with this person, which was shit. This is real shit. Drug addiction. Trying to, you know, get custody of his daughter type of thing. And when you watch these creators, I was listening and watching, and you think about like everything we're watching today. It's sometimes people will do some really crazy things for attention, right? And I'm not going to sit here and shame on people for wanting attention. Like, we're all putting stuff out there in the internet. We want some type of attention. But I would say you got to ask yourself, you know, it's kind of like, is all press good press? Is if I got to compromise who I am as a person, if I have to embarrass myself as a person, and without my control or consent, and I can't really portray myself well enough where people can make assumptions that may not be true. But once you put out to the world, you can't control the narrative. You can't control what people think about you. And I think that could fuck with people. But you kind of have to play the game for the algorithm a little bit if you want to maintain traction or to develop your channel, for example. But you kind of, if you're going to be like in this space where it's about vulnerability, authenticity, real thoughts, you're putting your real self out there. And you're putting yourself out there for people to disagree, agree. You're putting yourself out there to be ridiculed for this issue with your production, with the way you think about this and how you're so ignorant and wrong and this, that you suck and all this shit. Like, oh, what we need, another white man talking about. Like, you're going to hear it all, okay? That's the deal that comes, that's the territory that comes with this, right? What I would say, it's still like finding that lane of I am not going to compromise what I am and what I believe just to appease the masses And because I believe that what I want to build this channel on, for example, I'm going to speak for me, is I want to build an authenticity of I have no problem being criticized for who I am. I have no problem someone wants to call me a bum and all this stuff. Like, people say what they want. I mean, that's, you put stuff out there, you can't sit there and be mad at what people think about you. I think what I'm trying to get across here is, you know, you got to be careful. And you can apply it to this, you could apply it to whatever your job, whatever you're working towards. It's really, I forgot to actually say the main comparison I compared it to. It really is like prostitution when you think about it. Your physical self is being seen and sold for an expected exchange. I am selling myself and vulnerability, my thoughts, in exchange for views, likes, comments, subscriptions, potentially monetization. And, you know, that's kind of the game you play. You may do it and you never even get money off of it. And you can't be mad that you didn't get the exchange you want because, you know, you got to charge it to the game, man. Nothing is guaranteed in this. And so, yeah, I think saying I sell myself for views is a little strong, but, you know, it's, you know, it captures the title, I guess. But yeah, it was just a thought I had because I was listening and we put so much effort to work on titles and maybe thumbnails, and I don't really work on thumbnails right now. It's not really, you know, it's whatever for me right now. We work on so much to like get so deep into the content creation. I think sometimes we complicate it to the point to where we focus on making everything seem so artificial that it loses the authenticity that people come to you for. And so I just think it's a very dangerous game to play. Something you gotta be careful about if you're in content creation or any type of, you know, artistry, which look, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like when people call this stuff like, it's creative to an extent. It depends what you're doing. I really wouldn't call this creative. But, you know, I would say this is more courageous because I'm putting stuff out there into the world that is not always agreed upon. And you are putting yourself out there to be absolutely destroyed. And so, and there's a lot of people who, you'd be surprised. And I've even heard when I worked in my previous job, and I never even told them I did a podcast when I worked there because I was their manager and stuff. You know, a lot of young people that worked for me, man, they would always be like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get into TikTok. I'm trying to get into this and that. I want to become this. And they would never actually even like, but they'd be like, so I'd be like, so, yeah, you have any, hey, send me whatever. I'll follow it. And they're like, oh, I haven't posted it. You know, I haven't posted anything yet. I'm like, so what are we talking about? Like most people, they're too scared to even put themselves out there. They're afraid of failure. But when you have failed over and over again, it's humbling. So nothing can really faze you or hurt you for that matter. And I think it's just very, you know, vital to everyone. You know, overall, I would say the message for this is stay true to who you are. Don't become a product to what the system rewards. You know, you got to play the game a little bit, but don't do it to the point where it compromises what you're about. So, yeah.